Be honest with me for a second. Have you ever looked in the mirror after a haircut and thought, why do I look older, not younger? The truth is, the wrong haircut can add 10 years to your face, but the right one, it can take 10 years off. And after 60, that difference is life-changing. Hair is so much more than just hair. It's confidence, identity, and the way we tell the world who we are. But as we age, our hair changes. Texture, thickness, even the way it frames our face. And here's the thing, what looked amazing on you at 40 might not be doing you any favors now. The good news? You don't need drastic surgery, expensive treatments, or endless products. Sometimes, all it takes is the right cut. In today's video, I'll share the 3 haircuts that instantly make women over 60 look fresher, lighter, and more vibrant. And I'll also show you the 3 cuts you'll want to avoid, because they can unintentionally make you look older or tired. This isn't about pretending to be 25 again. It's about celebrating your age with style, elegance, and cuts that work with you, not against you. So if you've ever felt stuck in a hairstyle rut, or you've been wondering, what haircut will actually flatter me now, this video is for you. Stay with me until the end, because not only will I share the cuts, but I'll also explain the psychology of why certain styles instantly project youth and vitality. Let's start by understanding why haircuts matter so much after 60. Before we get into the specific haircuts, let's pause and ask, why do haircuts matter so much after 60? The truth is, our hair goes through just as many changes as the rest of our body. By this age, you may notice your hair feels thinner, drier, or more fragile. That's because our natural production of keratin and collagen slows down, and our scalp produces less oil. Even if you were blessed with thick, shiny hair in your younger years, it naturally changes in texture and density as we mature. And it's not just about biology. It's also about perception. Research in psychology tells us that the way our hair frames our face can significantly influence how others perceive our age, vitality, and even our energy. For example, a cut that adds lift around the cheekbones doesn't just flatter your face, it subconsciously signals vibrancy, positivity, and youthfulness. Meanwhile, a heavy, outdated style can unintentionally pull the face downward and make you appear tired. But here's the most important part. A good haircut isn't about hiding your age, it's about amplifying your confidence. When your hair works with your features instead of against them, it highlights your natural elegance and shows the world you're still full of life and style. Think about it this way. Clothes, makeup, even jewelry, they all matter. But your haircut, it's the frame of your portrait. Change the frame, and suddenly, the entire picture feels brand new. So choosing the right haircut after 60 isn't vanity, it's self-care, it's self-expression, and it's about showing up in the world as the best version of yourself. And that's exactly why we're diving into the 3 haircuts that instantly make you look 10 years younger. Let's start with one of the most timeless and flattering options, the soft layered bob. Let's start with one of the most timeless, versatile, and flattering styles for women over 60, the soft layered bob. Now, I want you to picture this. A haircut that instantly lightens your face, adds movement to your hair, and takes away that heavy, weighed-down look. That's exactly what a layered bob does. It's fresh, it's modern, and best of all, it works on nearly every face shape. So why does this haircut make such a difference? First, layers. They create natural movement and softness around the face. Instead of your hair sitting stiffly in one place, the layers add flow and dimension. This movement draws the eye upward, softening features like a sagging jawline or fine lines around the mouth. It creates lift, something every woman over 60 can appreciate. Second, the length. The most flattering layered bobs for mature women usually fall anywhere from chin length to just above the shoulders. Why? Because that length frames the face without dragging it down. A bob that hits just below the chin can beautifully highlight your cheekbones, while one that brushes the collarbone adds elegance without overwhelming your look. And then, there's the bangs. A soft side-swept bang, paired with a layered bob, can instantly take years off your appearance. It gently covers forehead lines, but more importantly, it adds balance to the face. A fringe that's too heavy can look dated, but a soft, wispy bang opens up the eyes and gives that youthful, approachable feel. Another big reason the layered bob is so flattering is because it adapts to hair texture. If your hair is fine, layers add body and volume. If your hair is thick, they remove heaviness and make it easier to manage. And if your hair is wavy or curly, the layered bob enhances those natural textures beautifully. From a psychological standpoint, this cut also signals freshness and modernity. When people see hair with movement and shape, it subconsciously communicates vitality, energy, and being up to date. Compare that to stiff, one-length cuts that often signal formality or outdatedness. One style says, "I'm still vibrant and engaged," while the other can unintentionally say, "I've given up." Now let's talk styling, because the cut is only half the story. A layered bob is incredibly low maintenance, but still looks polished. You can blow dry it for smooth volume, add a bit of curl for softness, or even let it air dry for a natural, tousled look. And here's a little trick. A touch of highlights or lowlights within those layers creates dimension and makes thinning hair look thicker and fuller. Finally, the beauty of this haircut is confidence. When you look in the mirror and see a style that frames your face, highlights your features, and moves with life instead of sitting flat, you don't just look younger, you feel younger. And that confidence shines through in everything you do. So if you're ready for a change but don't want anything too drastic, the soft layered bob is a safe yet stunning choice. It's youthful without trying too hard, modern without being trendy, and classic enough to remain flattering year after year. Truly, it's one of the best haircuts for women over 60 who want to look and feel their absolute best. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful haircuts for instantly taking years off your look, the pixie with volume. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A pixie? Isn't that too short for me? The answer is no, not when it's done correctly. A pixie with soft layers and volume can actually be one of the most youthful and flattering cuts a woman over 60 can choose. Here's why. As we age, our hair naturally thins. A well-cut pixie adds structure and lift where you need it most. By keeping layers on top, your stylist can create the illusion of thickness and fullness, even if your natural hair has lost some density. Instead of hair lying flat against the scalp, that added volume gives your entire face a lifted look, almost like a mini facelift without the surgery. Another reason this haircut works so well, it highlights your best features. A pixie draws attention to your eyes, your cheekbones, even your smile. It's a frame that says, "Look at me, I'm confident, I'm radiant, and I'm not hiding." For many women, that shift alone feels liberating. But let's be clear, not all pixies are created equal. A super short, severe crop can look harsh and accentuate lines in the face. The key is softness and texture. Ask your stylist to keep the edges feathered rather than blunt, and to add layers on top so you can style with volume. A side-swept fringe can soften the forehead, while tapered sides elongate the neck and give you that graceful, elegant silhouette. Now, what about styling? Here's the beauty of the pixie with volume. It's low maintenance, but it doesn't look lazy. With just a small amount of mousse or texturizing cream, you can create lift at the crown that lasts all day. For days when you want something more playful, you can tousle it with your fingers for a chic, effortless look. And for evenings, smoothing it back with a bit of shine serum instantly transforms it into sophisticated glamour. Color also plays a big role here. Adding highlights or lowlights throughout a pixie cut enhances the layers and gives the illusion of thicker hair. Even embracing your natural silver can look incredibly chic when paired with a modern pixie. Think of iconic women like Judi Dench or Jamie Lee Curtis. Their pixies don't age them, they make them unforgettable. From a psychological perspective, the pixie with volume sends a powerful message. It says, "I'm not afraid of change, I'm stylish, I'm confident, and I own who I am." And studies actually show that people perceive shorter, well-kept hairstyles as energetic and approachable, two qualities often associated with youthfulness. So if you've been wearing your hair long for years, and you're ready to reinvent yourself, the pixie with volume can be that dramatic yet graceful transformation. It's not just a haircut, it's a statement that age is just a number, and that you're still full of life, beauty, and style. Now let's move to the third haircut that can take years off your look, the long layered shag. This cut is ideal for women who want to keep some length, but also want movement, bounce, and a more youthful vibe. What makes the shag so flattering is its layering technique. It removes bulk where hair tends to look heavy, and it adds volume where hair tends to look flat. The result? Hair that looks light, full of life, and effortlessly stylish. Here's why it works so beautifully after 60. As we age, hair often becomes thinner and loses its natural body. A one-length haircut will just hang there, making it look even thinner. But with a long layered shag, those feathered layers create the illusion of thickness, even if your hair has lost some density. Each layer gives lift, So instead of dragging the face downward, it pulls everything upward, which instantly feels younger and more vibrant. Another secret to this cut is its versatility. You can style it straight for a sleek modern look, or add soft waves for that relaxed, playful feel. In fact, a bit of natural curl or wave works wonderfully with this cut, because the layers give definition and shape. That's why it's often called a wash-and-go hairstyle. It looks polished, even with minimal effort. Now let's talk about the length. The shag works best when it's cut somewhere between the shoulders and just past them. Too long, and it starts to lose its lift. Too short, and you miss that carefree, youthful movement. Around the collarbone, or a few inches below, is the sweet spot. It balances sophistication with fun. Bangs also play a key role here. Many stylists recommend pairing the shag with curtain bangs or wispy side-swept bangs. Why? Because bangs instantly soften forehead lines, frame the eyes, and create balance for the whole face. And unlike heavy, blunt bangs, wispy ones blend seamlessly into the layers, making the whole look lighter and more modern. From a psychological point of view, the long layered shag gives off a message of energy and approachability. When people see hair that's soft, flowing, and full of texture, it subconsciously communicates youthfulness, ease, and openness. Compare that to flat, one-length hair. It can sometimes give the impression of being weighed down or tired. And here's another benefit. This cut is very forgiving. Unlike precision bobs or sharp pixies, the shag doesn't need constant trimming to look fresh. A little bit of grow-out actually enhances its character, which makes it perfect for women who don't want to be in the salon every 4 weeks. Color can also make this haircut shine. Layers paired with highlights or lowlights add dimension, making the hair appear even fuller. Even salt and pepper or natural silver looks stunning with this cut, because the layers catch the light and give your hair depth. The long layered shag is perfect for women who want to keep some length, but don't want that dragged down look. It's youthful without being childish, stylish without being high maintenance, and most importantly, it moves with you. It has personality, it has energy, and when you wear it, people don't just notice your hair, they notice your sparkle. Now that we've covered the flattering cuts, let's shift gears and talk about some hairstyles that may not serve you as well after 60. The first one I want to mention is the overly short, harsh crop. Now don't get me wrong, short hair can be absolutely stunning. In fact, we just talked about the pixie with volume as one of the most youthful and confident cuts out there. But the problem comes when the hair is cut too short, too blunt, and too severe. Why does this matter? Because a harsh crop leaves no room for softness. It exposes every line, every contour, and it removes the natural frame that hair provides for the face. Instead of lifting your features, it can actually highlight signs of aging, like fine lines around the eyes, deeper lines near the mouth, or sagging around the jawline. Another issue is that a very close cropped haircut can sometimes feel too severe or masculine if it isn't balanced with texture. It gives the impression of strictness rather than softness, and as a result, it can unintentionally make you look older or harsher than you really are. Now here's something really important to remember. Women often choose this cut because it feels practical. It's low maintenance, easy to wash, and takes little styling effort. And that's completely understandable. But the truth is, practicality doesn't have to come at the expense of style. There are many low-maintenance cuts that still create movement, softness, and youthfulness. So what's the alternative? If you like short hair, opt for a soft pixie with layers and volume instead of an extremely close crop. Layers add texture, which softens the face, and keeping just a little length around the crown or sides allows for styling flexibility. Even a side-swept fringe can make all the difference in balancing the look and preventing it from feeling too severe. Psychologically, this is important too. An overly harsh crop can give the impression that you've stopped caring about style, when in reality, you may just be craving convenience. By choosing a softer alternative, you still get that easy wash-and-go routine, but you also project vibrancy, personality, and confidence. So if you've been tempted by the ultra-short, harsh crop, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is it highlighting your best features, or is it unintentionally drawing attention to the areas you'd rather soften? The good news is, with just a little more length and texture, you can keep the convenience of short hair while gaining a much more youthful, flattering result. The second haircut that can unintentionally age women over 60 is long, heavy, one-length hair. Now, let me be clear, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to keep your hair long. Many women love their length, and it can look gorgeous at any age. But the problem isn't the length itself. It's when the hair is all one length, with no layers, no shape, and no movement. Why is this an issue? First, heavy straight-across cuts tend to drag the face downward. Instead of creating lift and softness, they exaggerate gravity. If you already feel like your features have softened or your jawline isn't as defined as it once was, a heavy one-length style will only make that more noticeable. Second, long one-length hair can highlight thinning ends. As we age, our hair naturally becomes finer and more fragile. When it's kept in a solid, heavy block, those delicate ends can look stringy or lifeless. Instead of framing your face with vitality, the style can give the impression of tiredness or neglect. And third, it can look dated. Fashion and beauty are always evolving, and while classic styles are timeless, long one-length hair often reads as stuck in the past. It can signal that you haven't updated your look in decades, even if that's not the case. Now, I understand the attachment. For many women, long hair feels feminine, familiar, even comforting. Letting go of that can feel scary. But here's the encouraging part. You don't need to chop it all off to look fresh and youthful. So what's the alternative? If you love length, keep it, but add layers and shape. A long layered cut, or even a modern shag with soft feathered edges, instantly transforms the look. Layers remove the heaviness and create movement. They draw the eye upward instead of pulling it down. And with the right cut, even fine hair can appear thicker and more dynamic. Adding subtle highlights or lowlights also brings dimension, making long hair look full and healthy rather than flat and lifeless. And if you're open to bangs, soft curtain bangs or wispy side bangs can balance the length and frame your features beautifully. Psychologically, this change is powerful too. Long, heavy, one-length hair often gives off a message of holding on, but when you add shape, texture, and dimension, the message shifts to renewal. You're not abandoning your femininity, you're updating it, embracing it, and showing that you're still modern, confident, and evolving. So if you've been clinging to that one-length style for years, maybe it's time to ask yourself, is it still serving you, or is it holding you back from looking and feeling as vibrant as you truly are? Sometimes, just a few well-placed layers can make you look and feel 10 years younger without losing the length you love. The third haircut I want to caution against is what many stylists call the helmet hair, or rigid bob. You've probably seen this style before. It's perfectly set, heavily sprayed, and often doesn't move an inch even in the wind. It usually has a very stiff, rounded shape that hugs the head like a helmet. Now, while it may feel neat, tidy, and polished, the truth is that this style can unintentionally age you by decades. Why? First, it lacks movement. Hair that's stiff and rigid signals a sense of being stuck. It can make you appear less approachable, less vibrant, and frankly, older than you really are. Movement and texture in hair communicate energy, lightness, and youthfulness, qualities we naturally want to emphasize as we age. Second, this overly structured bob often feels outdated. It was extremely popular in past decades, but beauty evolves and what once looked chic now risks looking old-fashioned. When you wear a haircut that's associated with another era, it can make you appear older than your actual age, even if your outfit and makeup are modern. Third, helmet hair tends to harden the face. Because it frames the head so tightly, it emphasizes angular lines and creates a boxy silhouette. Instead of softening fine lines and giving lift, it can highlight them. Now, I want to pause here and acknowledge why many women choose this style: convenience and control. It feels reliable, predictable, and easy to manage. Once it's set, you don't have to think about it. But the trade-off is that it sacrifices softness, fluidity, and modernity, all of which are essential if you want to project youthfulness. So what's the alternative? Instead of a rigid bob, go for a modern layered bob with texture and movement. Ask your stylist to create layers that add softness around the face, and avoid cuts that sit in a perfect stiff curve. Even something as simple as a side part or tousled styling can instantly make the look more contemporary. Adding subtle highlights can also break up the helmet effect, giving depth and dimension instead of a flat, solid block of color. And most importantly, embrace a little imperfection. Hair that moves, that sways when you turn your head, that looks soft to the touch, that's what signals vitality and confidence. From a psychological perspective, this matters more than we realize. Hair that is too rigid communicates rigidity in personality, closed, formal, and unchanging. But hair that flows and moves communicates openness, warmth, and energy, and those qualities are timelessly youthful. So if you've been holding on to a helmet bob for years, maybe it's time to let it go. With just a few tweaks, adding layers, loosening the shape, softening the texture, you can keep the polish you love while gaining a style that feels modern, light, and refreshingly youthful. Now that we've explored the 3 haircuts that can take years off and the 3 that might be adding years, it's time to answer the question every woman over 60 eventually asks: how do I choose the right cut for me? The truth is, there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. The best haircut for you depends on 3 main factors: your face shape, your hair texture, and your lifestyle. Let's start with face shape. If you have a round face, layers that add height at the crown can elongate your look. If you have a square or angular jawline, soft layers around the edges or side-swept bangs can bring balance. And if your face is longer or narrower, a cut that adds width and movement around the sides will give harmony. The key is to think of your haircut as a frame for your portrait. The right frame enhances the artwork, not competes with it. Next is hair texture. If your hair is fine or thinning, shorter cuts with layers can create fullness and volume. If your hair is thick, you'll want to remove weight with smart layering so it doesn't overwhelm your face. And if you're blessed with natural waves or curls, celebrate them. A good stylist can cut those curls into layers that move and bounce instead of frizzing or falling flat. The third factor, and often the most overlooked, is lifestyle. Ask yourself, how much time do you want to spend on your hair each day? If you love styling and experimenting, you might enjoy a layered shag that can be curled, tousled, or smoothed straight. If you prefer simple routines, a layered bob or pixie with volume may be more your speed, since both look polished with minimal effort. The best haircut isn't just about how it looks, it's about whether it fits comfortably into your everyday life. And here's something I really want you to remember. It's okay to bring pictures to your stylist. In fact, it's recommended. Sometimes it's hard to describe exactly what you want, but a visual guide makes it so much easier for your stylist to create a cut that matches your vision. Don't be shy. This is your hair, your confidence, your expression. Another tip: don't underestimate the power of regular trims. Even the most flattering haircut can lose its shape after a few months. Keeping your ends fresh and your layers defined makes the difference between a tired style and a youthful, polished look. Finally, remind yourself that your haircut isn't about hiding your age, it's about embracing it with style. The right cut should make you feel radiant, confident, and comfortable in your own skin. Because when you feel good about your hair, it shows in your smile, your posture, and the way you carry yourself. So when you're sitting in that salon chair, think less about what should I hide, and more about what do I want to highlight. That simple shift in perspective can completely transform not just your hair, but how you feel about yourself. Now let's step back for a moment and talk about something even deeper: the psychology of a youthful haircut. When we update our hair, we're not just changing what we see in the mirror, we're changing how we feel inside. A haircut that flatters your features and adds softness doesn't just make you look younger, it makes you carry yourself differently. You smile more, you stand taller, you project confidence and vitality without even realizing it. Psychologists tell us that when we feel good about our appearance, we're more likely to engage socially, try new things, and even experience better moods. In other words, the right haircut isn't just cosmetic, it can be a catalyst for self-expression, joy, and renewed energy. And here's the best part: it's not about erasing years, it's about reflecting who you are today, vibrant, wise, and still full of life. A youthful haircut doesn't hide your age, it celebrates it. So we've looked at the 3 haircuts that can take years off your look, the 3 to avoid, and how to choose a style that truly suits you. At the heart of it all, remember this: your haircut isn't about chasing youth, it's about expressing the best version of yourself. The right style can highlight your features, soften where needed, and most importantly, give you the confidence to shine at any age. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this: aging is not about fading into the background, it's about evolving with grace, style, and a little boldness. And sometimes the right haircut is the spark that reminds you of the vibrant woman you've always been. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this video inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend who could use a confidence boost, and let me know in the comments: which haircut do you feel ready to try next?